Hey, what is up everybody? It's Animac here for AnimeUproar, and he freaking did it, man. Horikoshi trolled the entire MHA community. He pulled a bait and switch. And that massive UA Traitor reveal from the previous week turned out to be a fake reveal. Now, the traitor was still revealed in this latest chapter. We know who it is. It was Deku's mom, obviously, but it is not who we were directly led to believe it was at the end of chapter 335. Okay, for those of you who are new to the channel, I am kidding about Deku's mom, but it is a class 1A student, and I will explain all of it in this video. Needless to say, this video will contain massive Boku no Hero manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. Now, normally I do not make videos based on manga spoilers, which come out earlier than the actual full chapter. Normally I wait until the full chapter drops before making any sort of review, but with the insanity of this reveal, and with how much it changes everything we thought we knew from last week, I felt that I had to make this video right now to clarify everything. I will still make a regular in-depth review of the entire chapter once it drops in a few days, so definitely subscribe to the channel and hit that bell so you don't miss it. That said, in this video, I will be narrowly focusing on the real traitor reveal, how it all fits into the story, all the clues that we had about the traitor's identity up to this point, and so on. As you might recall, in my previous video where we all thought that Toru was revealed as the traitor, I said this. I mean, the only way that Toru isn't the traitor now is if Horikoshi is deliberately tricking us, and then in the next chapter we see that Toru was actually being set up by someone else, like say Deku's mom, but that's probably unlikely. So yes, that probably unlikely thing turned into definitely 100% fact. The real traitor is not Toru Hagakure, but rather Yuga Aoyama. No, Twinkle Boy, no! The spoilers for chapter 336 reveal that Toru had been shown in the final panel of the previous chapter, not because she was the traitor, but because she had been keeping an eye on Aoyama. Unlike all the other students, Aoyama has continued to be depressed since the war arc ended, and he seemed to have gotten even worse since Deku returned to UA, which is kind of the opposite of everyone else's behavior. Toru was worried about Aoyama, so she went out in the forest to talk to him, but then she stumbled upon a private conversation that Aoyama was having with his parents. And of course, his parents were moved into the UA shelter along with the families of the other UA students. During this conversation that Aoyama and his parents believe is private, his parents tell him that he has to keep obeying All For One's orders and he has to keep leaking information to the villains. Aoyama is the traitor, and he has been working for All For One because All For One threatened to kill his parents if he didn't. Aoyama is the real reason that the villains knew about the location of the student training camp, about the USJ, and presumably other important info as well. However, it is clear that Aoyama isn't doing these things willingly. He is being blackmailed by All For One, and the lives of his parents are being threatened. Far from being okay with all of this, Aoyama is heartbroken and crying. He doesn't want to be the traitor, and his parents also don't like that their son is being forced to do this, but at the same time they're telling him that he has to continue in order to save all of their lives. Based on the spoilers, it seems that Aoyama's family first met All For One when they went to him for help when Aoyama was still a child. Yuga Aoyama was actually born without a quirk. He was quirkless. And this made him different from everyone else. It made him a social outcast, which is something that Deku also had to deal with throughout his childhood. Aoyama felt that he had to have a quirk if he wanted to achieve his dream of becoming a hero, so his parents made a deal with All For One, and All For One transferred Naval Laser into Aoyama. Now it makes sense why Aoyama struggled so hard to control Naval Laser. It was a quirk that was not originally intended for him, so it was not compatible with his body. Then Deku arrives on the scene since he also noticed that something was up with Aoyama, and then he and Toru both confront Aoyama about what they just heard. So many moments in which Aoyama's behavior just seemed off and different from the others now makes a lot more sense. This entire time, Aoyama was torn between loyalty to his friends and keeping his parents safe. And he did horrible things that put the lives of his friends in danger in an attempt to protect his family. The chapter ends with a sobbing Aoyama telling Deku that he is a dirty villain. Absolutely unreal twist, especially after we were all so convinced that it had to have been Toru. I mean, to be fair, Toru and Aoyama were definitely the two most popular suspects. But Horikoshi really went out of his way to make us think that it was Toru in the last chapter, just so he can pull a switcheroo in this new chapter. The man really is an absolute mad lad. I have to say that just over a month ago, Vocal Pineapple made a comprehensive video on the Aoyama is the traitor theory, and a lot of what was just revealed actually confirmed things in that video, including the parents' angle, the fact that the quirk doesn't fit his body, and more. I will link the video down in the description if you want to check it out. It's basically spot on. Now let's take a quick look at the evidence that we had about Aoyama being the traitor before this crazy twist. Much like Toru, his exact location during the USJ villain attack is unknown, and when asked about it, he outright refuses to say, stating that it's a secret. Aoyama has also been acting weird and throwing odd, knowing glances at the audience and at Deku for a long time, to the point that I thought that he couldn't be the traitor, since if he really was, then his behavior was almost a little cheesy. Get it? Cheesy? Anyway, we were initially told that Aoyama was born with some sort of birth defect that made it difficult for him to control his own quirk. The lasers which shoot out from his navel would leak out from his body uncontrollably, which made him a social outcast since everyone was afraid that his quirk would hurt them. Thankfully, Aoyama eventually received a special belt which allowed him to control his quirk, but unlike most supporting equipment, this belt is not an optional accessory. Aoyama has to wear it all the time. We now know the real reason why Aoyama was having so much trouble controlling his quirk. It wasn't his quirk in the first place. It was a quirk stolen by All For One and then given to him, and he couldn't control it because it wasn't a good fit for his body. This makes me wonder, could Naval Laser actually be a lot more powerful than we realize, but Aoyama just hadn't been able to unlock its full potential yet because it wasn't compatible with his body? Could Aoyama one day undergo a quirk awakening and Naval Laser becomes something way more powerful? It's interesting to think about. The Aoyama traitor theory emphasized that All For One and Ujiko must have been somehow involved in his life before he came to UA. Either Aoyama was born quirkless and his quirk was given to him by All For One, which is why it doesn't seem to be compatible with his body, or that belt that Aoyama uses to control his quirk was actually created by Ujiko. Either way, the theory stipulated that Aoyama and his parents were now indebted to All For One, and that is why Aoyama had to be the traitor. Additionally, if Aoyama and his parents had contact with All For One in the past, either regarding his quirk or his belt, then All For One knows his parents and he could be threatening them. Basically, he could be blackmailing Aoyama into giving him sensitive information about the UA and threatening to hurt his parents if he doesn't comply. And this theory turned out to be true. Aoyama was born quirkless. He received his quirk from All For One, and this made his entire family indebted to All For One. On top of that, the villain is threatening to kill his parents if he doesn't comply and continue being a traitor. Unless Horikoshi decides to flip the script on us again, the Aoyama traitor theory, as it was outlined in the Vocal Pineapple video, is spot on. Please let me know what you guys thought about this epic troll from Horikoshi. Are you happy that the traitor was Aoyama and not Toru? Are you disappointed? Do you still believe it's actually Deku's mom? Let me know down below. Also, how do you feel about the fact that Aoyama was an unwilling traitor? That he's essentially being forced into doing this? Does this mean that he can be redeemed, and will he maybe switch sides and help the heroes feed false information to the villains? That concept about feeding false intel to the villains could actually be a huge deal for the heroes. Especially since we now know from the last chapter that All For One is going to start leaning on the traitor for assistance very soon. If the traitor gives All For One false information, he could lure the villains into a trap and it's game over. All in all, this was absolutely insane. Horikoshi really pulled one over on us. I mean, I feel like there was no reason for Toru specifically to be involved in this scene. Someone else could have been the one to inform Deku about Aoyama's conversation with his parents, or Deku could have just stumbled upon it himself. I honestly feel that Horikoshi included Toru in this scene just so he could end the previous chapter the way he did and stick it to everyone who thought that the traitor had to be her all of these years. I wonder if Horikoshi watched some of the traitor theory videos on YouTube, because he's definitely dunking on some of us. The MHA manga is extremely intense right now. The traitor bait and switch is going to have a massive impact on the story and all the characters, so I can't wait to see what happens next. Don't forget to leave your feedback down in the comments below. And of course, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more Boku no Hero content right here on the channel, just leave a quick like. It only takes a second, but it helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to the channel, or maybe you watch our videos but you just haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, do me a quick favor and make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. You really have to go through the trouble of subscribing, hitting the bell, and then selecting that option that says all. If you don't do that, you're still gonna miss a ton of our videos, even if you are subscribed. It's just how YouTube works. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. I want to give a big thank you to all of our AnimeUproar patrons who make videos like this one possible. Special thank you to Alpha Sigma. This man is an absolute mad lad and a disciple of Lord Twigo himself. And I can't forget all of our The One tier patrons, the ones who stand above all other clans, including Ingrata, Aljatal, Pate Hefa, The Red-Haired Fox, Hinokami and Water, The Toasted Chi, Corey McGowan, The Spike, Dylan Isidore, Spidey Leftanel, Tungsten Tarkus, Baked Buddhist, Monkey D. Quilly, Cody Hebert, and Jeremy Cummings. Finally, thank you also to our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, Steelers, Angel Cruz, Very Gucci, Alicia Octer, Bonnie Parks, Joanne Garcia, Fatboy Games, Kaido Might Be a Duck, Jessica Rabbit, and Jeremy Phillips. If you enjoy our videos and you feel that they provide value to you, consider supporting us on Patreon. Even a single dollar will give you access to our patron-exclusive Discord, and your name will appear in our videos along with these legendary people. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys!